exciting episode of Speaking's webinar series. I really hope everyone out there is doing wow. Today we have some very special guests with us. One of them is a very popular entrepreneur who has actually taken Indian street food and built it into an entire homegrown Indian brand. And the second person is a marketer, a business author, and the popular author behind the book Booming Brands, which has covered some of the finest entrepreneurs in India. The two volumes of the book is already out. It's being published by CNBC. He's also worked with organizations, the World Bank, Deloitte, First Cry. I would like to welcome Mr. Harsh Pamnani here. Hi, Harsh.
Thank you,
So,
Harsh.
I think the other guest for today is Mr. Sagar Daryani. I think you are more qualified than I am to introduce him. So I would like you to do the honors and take it forward from there. Thank you so much.
Himanshu, thank you for your kind introduction and giving me an opportunity to introduce Sagar. It's an honor. So, hello and welcome everyone. Today we have with us Sagar Daryani, co-founder and CEO of Wow Momo, India's largest fast food chain specializing in momos. In 2008, Sagar started his entrepreneurial journey at the age of 21 with just 30,000 rupees. 12 years later, his business was valued at 860 crores. Sagar, you have inspired millions of people with your journey. Thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure, Harsh. Thank you for having me here, and it's actually an honor to be, to having you moderate the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sagar. So, friends, today we will cover Sagar's journey of creating an iconic Made in India brand. Then we will touch upon the impact of COVID-19, followed by Q&A. So, Sagar, I will start asking you questions to cover your journey so that audience can get to understand different dimensions of your journey.
Absolutely.
So, my first question is, food is a vast subject with multiple varieties. What made you to focus only on momos and create such a powerful brand?
So yeah, I'll be very honest here. This was third year of my college final exams, and I was coming out of a breakup. So मैं अकेले रात को पढ़ाई नहीं कर पाता था. So my friend would come home and teach me, and रात को जब पढ़ाई करते थे, तो we would feel hungry, right? Or Vinod, my co-founder, he was a Nepalese, he knew how to make momos. So रात को जब भूख लगती थी, we would experiment with Maggi, we would experiment with sandwich, toast, and obviously we would get amazing momos to eat. And there was this lady in my school, we would call her Momo auntie. Her momos were brilliant. So, as a kid in school, I would buy one plate and just get one piece to eat. My friend would gobble the rest. So that gave me confidence that, good quality momos can sell. On hindsight, after finishing my final exams, I knew I could not do an MBA in India because हमारे country में MBA करने के लिए you have to be brilliant in maths. और मेरा maths बहुत खराब था. So I knew that, I mean, if I have to do something, I wanted to always create my own brand. बचपन से मेरे को एक brand building का बहुत शौक था. मेरे textbooks में मैं Nike, Adidas, Reebok के logos draw करता था. खुद का एक brand बनाना था. That branding thing was always there with me. So I said, yeah, if you want to build a brand, why not do it with food? And if you want to do it with food, why not with momos? Because I had, that Momo auntie in school, her momos are brilliant, right? So I knew that good quality momos can sell. So it was like, if Domino's can play with pizzas, if McDonald's can play with burgers, why can't we play with momos? Why not play with momos and make a brand out of momos? And Momo did not have any other organized player, it was a virgin market. So, you had all the opportunity in the world to build a category and to create a new category of QSR in that segment. So it was a very vast opportunity, virgin market. So, yeah, let's experiment and see where we get to. So that's what got us to Momos.
Interesting. Sagar, I'm curious to know one. Yeah, we can hear you, I think, but your picture has gone still. Maybe some network issue. Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you. Okay. Coming to my next question. Momo is a popular food in Himalayan region. How you got confidence that this product will work pan-India? Sagar, I think we have lost you. Sagar? Himanshu?
Hi. I think Mr. Daryani is facing some network connectivity issues. He'll be back with us very shortly. Just thank you for your patience. In the meanwhile, to the audiences who have joined us, if you have any questions that you would like to ask Mr. Daryani, please feel free to enter it within the Q&A section. We'll try to take up as many questions as possible towards the end of this session. Okay, Mr. Daryani is back with us again.
Hey Sagar, welcome back.
Yeah, I'm sorry I got dropped out. Where was I?
No, you just completed the answer of first question in which I asked you why Momos.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. Now, Sagar, I'm curious about one thing. Momos is a food that is famous in Himalayan region. How you got confidence that it will work pan-India?
So, I think we were very clear that, we want to be trendsetters. अगर Domino's India में जो एक रोटी खाने वाली country है, वहाँ पे आके रोटी को replace करके पिज़्ज़ा बेच सकता है, तो हम मोमोज क्यों नहीं बेच सकते, So we were very clear कि अगर इंडिया में मोमो बेचना है, तो authentic जो हिल वाला मोमो होता है, वो बेचने से नहीं चलेगा. We had to Indianize the product. So, I think that's what got us innovating. We created variants like a chicken cheese momo, like a corn cheese momo, like a paneer momo, like a mushroom momo, like a playing with momos, and then we created versions like a pan fried momo, which is fried and tossed in spicy sauce, Szechuan sauce, tomato garlic sauce. तो हमारे इंडिया में हमको spicy खाना, मसालेदार खाना, चटपटा खाना अच्छा लगता है. तो how do you convert and Indianize the product was very important. And I was very confident, if we can experiment with food, if we can get the right taste and we can Indianize the product, I think we can go pan India. If I have to sell momos in Chennai, in South India, and if I have to sell momos in Bangalore and in Delhi, I think if you want to build a brand, you have to be consistent. You can't localize the product as per the city or the region, because then you can't get volume, you can't get scale, right? So we were very clear that, अगर हमारे को brand build करना है, if you want to build that brand, we have to Indianize the product. And that's what we did, we went about the journey, we innovated with the product, and we got going. So I think the key here is to, Indianize the product and to, give the consumer what they want. So agar hum chicken momo bech rahe the, so across the country, people would have more of onion in it and less of chicken in it. But our momos would have full crunchy chicken and very little onions in it. So give the consumer what they want, experiment with the product, and if you always think about the consumer, I think you are able to sell, and if you're able to sell, the word of mouth spreads, and ये जो food business है, it goes by the word of mouth. Today you like it, you go and tell your friends, they go and tell their friends. So that's how the entire ecosystem revolves.
Right, interesting. So, Sagar, today Wow Momo is one of the most valuable brands in India and one of the most popular also. So how you came up with this brand name Wow Momo along with such an interesting color combination, such an attractive logo? Can you share the story behind that?
So, the logo is bright yellow, attractive, right? So I was not a brand from the US or the UK that मैं अपने store खोलूंगा and people will start walking in and queuing up outside my store, right? I had to roll eyeballs. I had to attract the consumer. I had to, pull walk-ins into my store. So to do that, I was very clear in my mind that, brands are built in the mind of the consumer. Everything that you do as a brand creates an impression in the mind of the consumer. So I was very clear that अगर हमारे को brand build करना है, the logo has to be bright and attractive. Your yellow bright signage has to attract the consumer. Everything, right from the uniform that the staff wears to the packaging to the way you serve the product, everything is going to create an impression in the mind of the consumer, and that's what is going to build the brand. Now, for me to first time attract the consumer to my store, I had to make my store vibrant, had to make my store bright, I had to make my logo bright. I knew कि अगर मैं customer को एक बार हमारे store में लेके आऊँगा, he'll become ours forever. So, we were very brand conscious, look and feel conscious, because I think we had to organize the entire perception about the product. Momo was seen more like a roadside food, available largely in northeast part of the country and Delhi and Calcutta. अगर हमको उसको Indianize करके एक brand बनाना था, we had to give it a look and feel, a color, and we had to attract the consumer. And the reason I named it Wow Momo was because I felt कि अगर कोई हमारा मोमो खाएगा, he should say wow. So, and in your brand name, it's very important to have the product, because, then half of your problem gets solved. Today at a Wow Momo, you stand for Momos. Like a Pizza Hut stands for pizza, like a Burger King stands for burger, like a Cafe Coffee Day stands for coffee. So, when you have a product name in the brand name, it just makes the salability more easier. That's what I've learned. If you ask me any kind of branding tip or marketing tip, I meet so many startups. I feel your name is a very key aspect. More than the look and feel, your name is a very key aspect, and your logo is a very key aspect as to how you are able to draw consumer to your store. Because, if you're an established brand, it will automatically happen. But when you're building a brand, there are a lot of efforts that need to go in, and building a brand is a science, it's an art. And these small basic things really lead to getting that traction of consumers coming into your stores.
Interesting. So, Sagar, I have been a regular visitor of Wow Momo stores. In fact, I really love your brand to take out my family there. And I have always seen that you come up with such interesting options. I mean, so many varieties, so many options. So, I'm curious to know that now you have become big, but over the period of time when you were evolving your business, how you managed to keep resources involved in managing the existing successful products at the same time innovating new products, because I'm sure you had limited resources when you were creating this business. So how you manage that?
So I think the entire product manifestation journey has been one of the keys to success. Innovation has been one of our biggest keys to success, right? How could we take a simple Momo and convert a snack into a meal was how we led to building a successful brand out of food. So when we began Wow Momo, we would only have steam momos and available only in 4 flavors. So first we enhanced the flavors. We came up with different flavors of momos. But enhancing flavors was just the beginning, and then we felt अगर ये steam momo है तो अब इसके बाकी variants कैसे कर सकते हैं? So we launched the pan fried momo, which are fried and tossed in specially prepared sauces. हमने बोला अगर हम steam और pan fry कर सकते हैं तो हम fried क्यों नहीं कर सकते हैं? Because हमारे इंडिया में people love samosa, they love kachori, they love the fried stuff, right? So I call the steam momos healthy food. I call the fried and the pan fried wealthy food. I don't call it unhealthy food. So अगर हम ये कर सकते हैं, then so that's how the product variety and variation started, right? The next challenge for us was how do we convert this snack into a meal, right? So whenever I would walk into a KFC or a Burger King or a McDonald's store, I would see people carrying, carrying the food in a tray. So I was like, how can I make people carry momos in a tray? So we launched this concept for Momo Burger, where you stuff 2 pieces of fried Momo between the burger breads with the spicy red sauce, the green sauce, and mayonnaise. So, and you add $100 to your Momo, you get a burger and a Pepsi with it. So Momo Burger Pepsi becomes like a full meal, right? So that is how we started converting a snack into a meal. As we grew further, as we stepped out of Calcutta and we entered Bangalore as a first city, we had to increase our APC, our average ticket size, because we were entering into markets with the real estate. We were entering into the best mall of Bangalore, one of the most expensive malls for me. So I had to take up my sale, I had to take up my traction. So we launched a sizzler Momo, which comes with rice and noodles. So 6 pieces of momos, 3 steamed, 3 pan steamed with rice and noodles with it and a curry with it. So sizzler momos made it a meal for 2, a larger meal or a more wholesome meal. As we grew further, we felt, and we entered the Delhi markets, we felt in North India, people like tandoori stuff a lot. So we launched tandoori momos. We launched a baked momo gratin, which is like a lasagna. So you have a layer of pan-fried momo, then white cream, noodles, and cheese, and baked like a lasagna. So it was converting a simple steam momo to a pan-fried, to a sizzler, to an au gratin. The only thing missing in the menu was a dessert, right? So I felt if we're a Momo brand, our dessert should also be a Momo, and that's how chocolate momos came in. And that's how we've experimented with the product. We've created butter masala momos. We are about to launch a pizzeria momo, a pizza momo. I think once the lockdown completely gets over and people start coming out, our biggest competition going forward will be, till now competition has been the likes of a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Domino's, my role model brands. I call them my role model brands because, all of us are QSR, all of us are impulse buy. But in real sense, our biggest competition has been the roadside vendors. But now with the concept of health and hygiene coming in, post-COVID, we are launching a range of momos at 49 rupees and 59 rupees. We are launching a range of momos at 25 rupees. To be able to compete with that roadside vendor and give the people who could not afford a 80 rupees or a 100 rupee momo, to make them available within 50 rupees, to make them available at the same roadside price, but the same hygienic and better quality. So, post the lockdown and maybe by September, we launch this new line of range where, people who move out, step out will get within 50 rupees a wholesome meal at a Wow Momo, and, competing with the roadside vendor who is not able to provide that health and hygiene will become one of our biggest aspects.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm curious to understand how you come up with new ideas, how you pilot and then scale up these new products. Can you share some light on that?
I'll tell you what, as we grow as a brand, innovation, the pace of expansion and pace of operations have to go hand in hand, but the pace of innovation has to move a step ahead. The product that you want to launch in September, the R&D of the product should happen in the month of March and April and should be ready. So because we are in the QSR business, we have to move ahead of time. So what we do is generally, we do an R&D section every month, but we put ourselves in the shoes of the consumer. We want to know what the consumer wants to eat. We want to, understand ki customer ko kya pasand aayega. Maybe I might like something, but will the wholesome consumer like that thing or not? Will the majority like that thing or not? we have actually through Wow Momo created a niche product for the masses, right? So we want to figure out key whether the consumer can like that or not, and how can we make that scalable without adding extra equipment in the store, because our stores are very small in size, so every inch of space, is important. So we have to look at the opportunity cost. We have to look at, by adding a particular product, what innovation it's going to create, what volume it's going to achieve. Also, adding to your menu is very important, but it is more important to take out stuff from the menu, because,
Right.
you will also have to know what is working and what is not working, right?
Right.
That becomes another big decision to make. So I think that's how we go about our entire journey. We do a lot of R&D. We first, get the product tried and tested in our factory. Then we launch it in a couple of stores. So we are Calcutta headquartered. So we launch it in Calcutta in a couple of stores. We see the traction. We take the consumer feedback. And then, gradually, phase-wise, we launch it in the entire city once the product is improved. Because, when you launch your prototype product, the consumers give a lot of suggestions, right? And those suggestions really help in making the product better. And then we launch it across the city. We see whether it's scalable or not, whether the innovation can be achieved with scale or not. And once it's done in one city and is successful as a pilot, we roll it out in different cities over a period of time. So that's how we go about our innovation. It's very important to, stage the innovation. You can't just launch everything in one go. So it's very important to have certain stores which are largely stores for experiments where, you will get consumer feedback and then, scale it up for one city. If it's successful, then scale it up nationally.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Now, Sagar, I have one question, that running a single store is very different from running 20 stores, and you have 300 plus stores pan India. So I want you to share the journey of starting your first store and then scaling up from, let's say, first to 20 to 300, what kind of challenges you faced and how you overcame those challenges. So
it's very, people talk a lot about systems. People talk about lot about your backend being very strong. I had never focused on the backend on system when I began, to be very honest. I didn't even know my food cost when I started. My first biggest challenge was when I started that my product should sell. It should be a good product. It should sell. I know once I get sales, I can get the income. Once I get the income, I can handle every other cost, right? So, getting sales is very important. I meet many startups in today's scenario who are very focused on the back end without getting the product. I mean, it's very good to get the product completely ready. That's definitely a must, or your service. But, people focus a lot on the back end infra, which I believe is not important. When we began Wow Momo with rupees 30,000, my home kitchen was my kitchen from where I began. My first 10 stores were catered from my home kitchen, imagine. So, and from my dad's garage, which was more like a warehouse. So imagine, when you are a startup, you have to first get volumes to build systems. You cannot have systems when you don't have volumes, right? So your systems for your 10 stores are very different from systems for 20 stores to 100 stores to 200 stores. So you have to evolve over a period of time. And like I said, your pace of expansion and your pace of operations have to go hand in hand. I see many startups who are expanding and opening stores, but they don't have systems in place, and you have to keep changing. Change is a constant. You have to reinvent yourself. You have to reinvent your business model. But everything's said and done, you have to keep your basics very simple and you have to follow them. This entire business is about, serving good quality product to the consumer with the best of service, the best of product, and the best of hygiene, right? Health, hygiene, happiness is what our industry is known for. And I'm not saying this now in the COVID era. I'm saying this was always the case of the hospitality industry even before COVID, right? So I think it's very important to stick to basics. It's very important not to be over ambitious, not to do things ahead of time. At the same time, have the right timing in place and do the right thing at the right time, focus on the right thing at the right time, and be very focused and goal oriented, and have aspiration levels. Today I might want to aspire to have a particular process, but I have to be honest to myself, stand in front of the mirror and tell myself that is my company capable of achieving those aspiration levels right now and creating it, or do I have to wait and watch? So very important to be honest to yourself. Aspire to have big processes, but do it, multiply it with regards to 2 plus 2 is 4 and then 4 plus 2 is 6. Go it over a period of time. You don't go from class 1 to class 10, right? You have to go to the entire process, the entire journey of 1 to 2 to 3, right? So I think it's very important to go through the process, go through the grind, go through the journey. I think it's not a good idea to jump the gun. Nothing good comes too early. Time is very, very important, and you have to give respect to time. So, by saying give respect to time, don't go too slow, don't go too fast, but, maintain the right pace, the right balance. And there will be times when, you will yourself feel that my business is not good in XYZ. Like today, I know that, no matter, how many good things I might say, how many successes I might share, I've had a lot of failures and I continue to have a lot of failures. In my organization, I know my weak points. I know there are thousands of weak points to be filtered, right? But I have to prioritize. I can't do all things in one go. So I have always been someone who will believe that, you cannot, clear all the mess in one day, but at the same time, you can actually, go out there and do things in bits and parts, achieve the right priority, prioritize things, and then get going. Very, very important to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sagar, can you share that part of your journey, like how you convinced Spencer for your first kiosk and then how you attracted initial few customers at your kiosk? I think that's very inspirational part.
Yeah. So in India, अगर आपको एक startup करना है तो आपको जुगाड़ करना आना चाहिए, right? So I just had 30,000 rupees in which I had to get going. I said, if I have to buy a shop or rent out a shop, I will not be able to bear the expenses of both back end and front end and manufacturing the Momo, etc. So, I said, let's try and do some innovation in the opening also. So, if I do a shop and shop format inside Spencer's, I don't have to worry about the ceiling, the flooring, the infrastructure, etc., right? And believe you me, I'm doing the same thing right now after 11 years. When the COVID has struck us, when the business has come down right to its bottom, we have got into a collaboration with Cafe Coffee Day where we are opening shops inside Cafe Coffee Day, right? So I'm again getting back to my basics. I'm getting back to shop and shop format because I'm trying to spread the asset better. I'm trying to grow on Cafe Coffee Days infra, right? I'm trying to find a very smart way of growing. So I think as an entrepreneur, it's very important to have a very smart vision and a very smart way of using your resources and best possible using your resources to achieve maximum traction and throughput. So I think we had limited money then. So, we said, let's keep things simple. At the same time, if I want an audience, everyone comes to a supermarket to buy grocery stuff, right? So being visible in the supermarket will give me the right kind of visibility. It will try my product out. If it's good, people are going to have it. And I'm going to get repeat customers because coming to a supermarket becomes a very repeated affair, right? You come every month, you come every week because, these are household needs, right? So for me, I think daily walk-ins and regularity of consumers are very important, at that point of time. And I did not have money to, do my own shop. So I approached Spencer's and, I said that, I want to build a brand around Momos and they said, why should we give you an opportunity? You're not a brand. I said, every brand needs an opportunity to build a brand. You give me the opportunity, I'll create a brand. I was very confident and upfront. I think the gentleman there who was the VP for the bakery and food service business was quite confident in my answer. I had to do a lot of big talk. I could not tell them I'm a beginner from scratch. And here I'm being very honest here. I wouldn't say I was lying to them. I think in business, you don't lie, you camouflage. So I had to create my own camouflaging. I had to tell them that, I am supplying Momos to schools and colleges, although I wasn't doing that, to be honest. And because I knew that, there was in my school, there was a lady selling Momos, right? So I could, say that in front foot, yaar, main karta hu kuch. I could not tell them I'm a complete beginner from scratch. And I don't think I'm lying. And I lied. I think I camouflaged. And I have no hiccup saying it in front of public because I believe every entrepreneur, every startup has to talk big, has to, predict the future in advance and make it happen. Just don't give big talk for the sake of giving big talk. Give big talk, but make it happen. Make the action happen. So I think it's very important that people judge you a lot by what you say, how you say, how you achieve that, what you say, right? It's very easy to go and say it, but it's very difficult to say it, have an idea and then create ideation for that idea and go and execute it. So I think our strength always was in execution. I think we gave big talk, but then we also backed it up with strong execution and strong ideation. And see, idea anyone can have. Today, you can have an idea, I can have an idea. It's not about the idea. I meet a lot of startups who tell me that, sir, I have a brilliant idea which can become $1 billion business, but I can't share it. I'm like, boss, it's not about the idea. It's about the ideation. It's about how you implement the idea, which is very important, right? And if you can implement it, like today, ICL, the Indian Cricket League was an idea, but IPL became a brand, right? It's all about the execution and the platform. So that's why I always believe that, keeping things too close to your chest is not going to work. You have to be very open-ended. At the same time, yes, you have to show it to everyone that, you are the best in executing it. You have to have belief in yourself. You have to be very practical. It's very nice to be very emotionally attached to your idea, but at the same time you have to be practical and you have to stand in front of the mirror and tell yourself कि ये doable है कि नहीं. Today we also get charged up, we also get excited, we want to do 10 things, but at the end of the day we realize that, boss, it's very important to be focused and to concentrate on your goals.
Sagar, you touched upon very important things like having belief in your idea, execution, and before this answer, you also mentioned about patience. And I have learned very important thing from you about this art of saying no. And why I'm bringing this point, because many startups think that money is everything. I mean, today you are backed by prestigious investors like Tiger Global, but once upon a time, you also said no to IAN because you felt you were not ready to raise fund. So can you just share some light about like how you gained that confidence to say no to IAN, and later on definitely you raised money from them, but how you decided that when is the right time to raise the money so that people and you bootstrapped. So how you ran a bootstrap business?
I'll tell you what, like for example, for us, when we opened our first kiosk in Spencer's, that did decently well, and Spencer's gave us our second store in the best mall of the city, and that did phenomenally well. And we saved money from those 2 outlets, and we opened a third outlet from money from 3 opened 5 to 10, 10 to 15. So right from 0 to 43, my first 43 stores were all company owned, company operated. We had no equity funding, we had no debt funding in those days, right? So when your customer becomes your biggest investor, it gives you a lot of boost, a lot of confidence. That means your business is clicking, right? Because आप zero से शुरू करते हो और अभी जगह पहुंच जाते हो, right? By just plowing back profits. And both Vinod and me always believed that 1 rupee saved is 5 rupees earned. I think we had no change in our lifestyle. We would still travel by a bus or an auto rickshaw. We would still travel by a taxi. We worked out the grind. We tried to do everything that we could to micromanage the business, but to save funds. But when you micromanage your business, you are actually doing everything by yourself, right? So when Indian Angel Network approached us in 2011, so there was a business plan competition. Prior to that, I had no clue about angel funding. I had no clue about private equity funding. So I'm very glad that I participated in that business plan competition, because it gave me this whole new world about angel funding, about private equity funding, about venture capital funding. Because तब तक मेरे को एक ही चीज पता था कि आपको अगर धंधा चलाना है तो प्रॉफिट्स कमाओ या तो बैंक से लोन ले लो, और कुछ पता नहीं था. And I'm glad, ignorance is bliss at times. I'm glad I never knew about it, because in today's, because when we began Momo, the word startup was not a very sexy thing. The word startup did not exist. It was all about entrepreneurship. There was only one word, and that was entrepreneurship, right? When I was in college and when we started. Today, being startup is a very sexy thing. Raising funds is a very sexy thing. But, I am someone who believes that, raise money at the right time. And why I'm saying that, when in 2011, when the Indian Angel Network gave us a term sheet of a valuation of 10 crores and they wanted to put in 2.5 crores, I was actually letting go of 25% stake of my company. That is irrespective. If I needed the money and if I was ready, I would have done it. But honestly, if you ask me, it was only Vinod and me running the business. We had no replacements for ourselves. Now, when an investor puts money into your business, they expect you to put that money in and to run, to scale. Funding is like an ammunition, right?
Right.
At that point of time, we did not have the resources. We did not have the bandwidth to scale. We were barely some 13 to 15 stores. We had a top line of some close to 2 crores. And we were not ready to scale, in the sense that, we never had replacements for ourselves. When you can only scale when you have a team in place. We never had a team in place. So that's why, we were very honest to ourselves. Like I said, you have to look up to the mirror and be honest to yourself and tell yourself. So when we spoke to ourselves, we felt we were not funding ready, because funding is like an ammunition. If the money comes in now, and if I have to scale very fast without being ready, I will mess up the game. So with a lot of confidence, we said no. And I feel happy and grateful to God to, give us that strength and confidence and that wise thinking of saying no then. And 4 years later, we were at 43 stores. We were at 19-20 crore top line. And that's when we raised money from the same IAN. And right. I'm grateful to that, they came back again. And imagine, 4 years ago, they were valuing us at 10 crores. After 4 years, they're valuing us at 100 crores. We raised only 10 crores. We diluted only 10% of the stake of the company. And we had already built a team in place that could replicate the model across cities. So it was not just Vinod and me. I think in those 4 years, we realized that, if you want to build a big organization, you have to raise funding. But to raise funding, you have to be funding ready. So let's work towards building an organization. So it was, when we began, it was only a business. That business became a brand. Then brand became an organization. Now this entire journey takes time, right? So you have to create replacements for yourself. And like I said, funding is like an ammunition. When the IAN money came in 2015, we've only had 43 stores. From there, in the next 2 years, we jumped from 43 to 108 stores. Because we had a team in place, we had people who could replace us, which is very, very important. And from 108 stores, in the next round of funding from Lighthouse, we had reached to, we got Lighthouse funds, and then we reached to 244 stores. And Tiger came into the business and we had close to 300 stores. So, that's how you scale, right? And you scale over a period of time. Last financial year, we opened 103 outlets in 1 year. That means almost 10 stores every month on an average, Had the March lockdown not happened, we would have closed the entire financial year at 113 stores because we had 10 more stores ready for being rolled out before 31st of March. So you scale really fast only when you can have a right team in place, when you can create replacements for yourself, and when you give credit to that team and when you share well to make well. So today in our company, we have a very strong ESOP pool. We have a very strong and fair policy of rewarding our employees, rewarding our colleagues. And now when we are going through this crisis of COVID, we haven't done job cuts, but we've done pay cuts, and everyone is bearing that pay cut, right? So you have to bear the larger pain for the larger gain, and when the larger gain happens, you get benefit from the larger gain also. So we have always treated our employees as family members. We always believe that like I always believe from day one, because I had seen incidents where मेरे कोई भी employee के family में किसी भी बंदे को because of paucity of funds should not die or should have any health issues, So in our own business, we tried saving one of my staff's son who had blood cancer, who is now about to finish college. This was 7 years ago. We tried saving some parents who had cancer. We could not. Now during COVID, people falling sick, trying to take care of them and ensuring that they get back to full health. Not doing any job cuts in such adverse times because, today if we let go of them, where will they get a job, right? So it's very easy for us to take a call कि हम job cuts करते हैं on cost बढ़ाते हैं. In 11 years, I've never seen losses, and for the first time in this quarter, we saw a loss of almost 14 crores in the first 3 months. So, the tables have turned. I would say the tables are still rotating, but it's very important as to what you do as an organization today, because that's going to determine the preamble and the principle of your organization as you grow forward.
Sagar, you have been a fighter, and I know your powerful quote, and I know this fight also you will win. You have inspired millions, so this is interesting to know that how you're scaling up. Sagar, I'm curious about understanding a little bit about the operations of the business, because whenever I have gone at Wow Momo stores, I have found consistent quality and taste. And what I understand, the taste depends on chef, and definitely you will have multiple chefs at multiple stores. So how you made sure that the taste and the product quality is consistent across all the stores that you have pan-India?
I think having very strong operating procedures, very strong SOPs, and being able to implement those SOPs through smaller locations, getting maximum throughput sales, having the right unit economics of business, having a very strong learning and development team, having a very strong training team, having an SOP for every aspect of the business, and ensuring that your staff feels a part of the organization, because one good employee can get you 10 good employees, and one happy employee can get you 10 happy customers. If the employee is not happy, how will the customers be happy? As entrepreneurs, we focus a lot on keeping the customers happy. We focus a lot on keeping the investors happy. But at times we forget to keep the employees happy. But you cannot be there everywhere, right? It's your employee who's representing your brand, your team. So it's very important to keep your employees very happy. And I think we are a people's business. We are a people's, where people run the show, and we've always given priority to that people, priority to that product, and priority to delivering the right quality to the consumer and in a hygienic and healthy manner. So I think it's very, 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 very important to applaud people, share wealth with them. Today in our company, we have many people who joined us, like my national business manager today. He joined me as an operations manager at a 14,000 rupees salary. Today, he draws a salary of more than, I would say, 2.5 lakhs a month. He takes at least, pre-COVID, he would take almost 4 to 6 flights in a week. Similarly, my head chef who joined me at a 3K part-time salary, when I began Momos making in my house. Today, his daughter goes to the best English medium school in Calcutta. He comes in a 4-wheeler. He used to come in a cycle earlier. He cannot even speak in English. If you need to share wealth to make wealth, you cannot keep all the wealth to yourself. Your people need to feel that applause. Your people need to be feeling a part of that journey. Today, I know one thing that, God forbid, whether Sagar Daryani is there or not there, the brand Momo is going to remain alive, because now it's no more dependent on me. It's dependent on the system. And I guess you need to develop those systems where the business is not micromanaged, at the same time not completely macromanaged. It's somewhere in the middle. But yeah, you need a platform, you need a system of people. And today we are a collective unit, like they say, united you stand, divided you fall. So that's how it is.
Interesting. Sagar, you have created such a popular brand in a short span of time. Can you share what kind of marketing strategies worked for creating such a powerful brand?
So I think for us, we never had a marketing budget. For us, from day one, when I opened my store in Spencer's in Calcutta, I did not even have money to print leaflets. So I would cut one Momo into 3 parts, and every customer who would come into Spencer's, I would take a tray and go up to that customer and say, "Hi sir, hi ma'am, we opened a new food counter called Wow Momo. Please taste one piece and see." We believed in a product. We knew कि कोई एक बार हमारा मोमो खाएगा तो they'll become ours forever. And it was possible to do that with the product because we would get credit from the vendor. The chicken vendor would give me credit of a week, so मैं मोमो को sample करा सकता था, but I never had money to print leaflets. So I think for us, the opening more and more stores, being more and more visible, and being able to sell more to more people has been a part of our marketing. So for the first 6 to 7 years of the business, we had zero marketing cost. We would only do sampling. We would put up our stalls and events. We would pay rentals for the events, but then while putting up stalls, we would also make sales, right? So we did stuff like IPL, we did stuff like ISL, but we were there in the best of events, but we made our product visible. But हमने कोशिश इतना ही किया कि maximum लोगों को अपना खाना खिलाए, because it's a food brand ultimately, right? Till today, I don't think we've ever done TV ads till today. We've done a couple of press ads. But for us, the biggest form of marketing is opening more and more store, being more and more visible, and your product becomes your biggest brand creator. Like I said, building a brand is about creating an impression in the mind of the consumer. Today, had I been a KFC or a Domino's and I would have come from the US on the day of store opening, I would have seen a 1 kilometer queue outside my store, right? But I was not that, I was a homegrown brand. I had to attract the consumer and bring him to my store. So if you go to any Momos store, you'll see it's bright and attractive. The bright is the logo, right? So that's to give that depiction that this is a Make in India story. Pull the consumer to yourself. Have confidence in your product quality. I'm not saying that we make the. I mean, I know we make the best momos in the country, but the goal has never been to sell the best momos in the country. The goal has been to sell the most consistent momos in the country. Today, Domino's gives you the most consistent pizzas in the world. And that's our goal, right? Maintaining that consistency. So whether you have the Momo in a Pune or a Bombay or a Calcutta, the taste should be the same. Right. Now, for every city, the water element might change the taste a bit, but as a consumer, you will not know it. As a consumer, I will not know it. But giving that consistency of taste and being able to deliver repeatedly is what makes a brand. Being able to deliver with trust. Today, in these COVID times, you have a brand like Domino's and you have a brand like, say, for example, I'm just not naming any brand. I'm just saying, say, Papa X Pizzas or whatever it is, right? I will never order from a Papa X Pizzas. I will order from a Domino's because, I have had that brand many times. I have trust in that brand. I know that brand will maintain hygiene practices. I will not go to a cloud kitchen brand, which I don't even know of, right? So I think building trust among consumers is very important. And that trust happens over a period of time. Today at Wow Momo also,
right.
out of every 10 customers, we get 9 praises, but we also get 1 complaint. Now it's very important to give a ear to your consumer to understand that 1 complaint. And so, if we are praised 90 times, we are also criticized 10 times. It's very important to know what criticism it is and to work upon it, because by doing that, you're also making the consumer feel that you're giving him a ear, which is very important. As a brand, you have to be sensitive to the consumer's needs. And I think that is what defines a brand.
Interesting. So coming to today's scenario of COVID-19, it has changed the way people buy and consume food. So according to you, what has been the impact on restaurant and fast food industry, and how restaurants can regain the business in current scenario? Just throw some light on that.
So like I said, our industry was always known for health, hygiene, happiness. Health and hygiene were always very, very important parameters of our business, irrespective of COVID or pre-COVID or post-COVID, the situation for the industry is not good, to be very honest. We are literally operating at 30% of our February numbers, for most of us who are operational. Out of my 345 stores, I think only 150 or 160 stores are operational. The rest are still shut. Cities like Bombay, the malls are shut. Most of our stores are in malls, in airports, in railway stations. They are all shut, right? So majority of your outlets are shut. And you continue to have a huge fleet of 3,000 people, and you have to continue paying them salary. So these are really tough times, and you will see many of your favorite restaurants not opening up ever again, because this entire restaurant business works on operating cash flows, and the restaurant industry has not come out from the last very good 2 successful years. It's not been very successful for us. I mean, the GST input was taken away. one after the other, we've been getting a lot of restrictive norms. So there has been some blow or the other, one after the other. The entire way of the food business and its approach has changed ever since I began. When I began, it was a proper brick and mortar demand supply. Today it's more about food tech. You have your aggregators like a Swiggy, Zomato. You have to share commission with them. So the entire perception to the business and the way of looking to the business has completely changed and transformed over a period of time. And to be very honest, the current COVID has been like a nail in the coffin for the industry. So these are tough times. And, I always believe that, adverse time calls for being diverse. It calls for being resilient. It calls for, re-innovating yourself. So you will see, we all will have to re-innovate, and we all will have to, reignite our business model. We'll have to tweak our business model. And if our business model changes, the business model of landlords have to change. The business model of food aggregators have to change. So it's a continuous process, right? It's a full ecosystem. So you will see a lot of bloodbath in the system, in the industry. A lot of restaurants will not open up again. A lot of job cuts. Unfortunately, a lot of job losses. Today with the lockdown, we have actually risked the life of 2,500 million daily wage earners for a few lakhs of people who might get affected by the virus. But it was a need of the hour. I think lockdown was very good to be implemented for a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, but extending it was not a good idea, because now if you see the economy is struggling, and so are we struggling with the virus, right? So it's like a double whammy. So, but I think now we need to learn to live with the virus. I think now that the fear psychosis amongst people, once the lockdown happened, we had few stores open for delivery business. It was picking up really well. And then you hear of one news that, one delivery pizza boy in Delhi gets affected by the virus, and more fear psychosis amongst people. I think as human beings, we have to be more compassionate towards the industry, because, you have to appreciate the fact that, today, the very fact that we kept our outlets open during COVID also, during lockdown also, was because we were in the essential services business. Food is an essential service. Right. There are a lot of people who depend on outside food, who cannot cook food by themselves. There are a lot of people who are bachelors, who are maybe staying in guest houses and paying guests, who cannot cook food for themselves, right? So we were operational for them. So all our employees who turned up to the store and all these delivery riders, they actually risked their lives on a daily basis. And together, I think we might have done some millions of deliveries across the days of lockdown, right? Now, in these millions of deliveries, you will get some cases, right? Because we all are humans, right? So I think this is the new normal. I hate the word new normal. I hate the word hashtag social distancing, hashtag contactless. I think in our business, you cannot go contactless. It can be contact light, but there will be some amount of human intervention. I think what is very important is that for all of us to behave in a very responsible manner, for all of us to not look at this virus like a taboo. We have to learn to live with the virus. I think the elderly, the vulnerable have to stay at home and take care of themselves, but the young have to come out and run the economy. I think if we live in this fear psychosis, ki restaurant nahi jana hai, bahar nahi khana hai, the economy cannot run. You can't live with fear, right? So I think every restaurant has to be more careful. I think you will see a lot of surveillance happening around health and hygiene. So what we are doing is, for all our stores, any customer entering the store, we are doing a temperature check. We're not allowing anyone to come in with a temperature. We are following all sanitization processes. Currently, as per the government norms, we are operating on 50% capacity. So if it's a 100-cover restaurant is operating on a 50-cover restaurant, we are trying to maintain social distancing at the service area, at the restaurant area. At the same time, we are trying to maintain social distancing at the kitchen. A 10-member kitchen has become a 7-member kitchen or a 6-member kitchen. So menus have become more limited, more compact, because obviously, you're trying to save and cut cost also, because you have to have a very compact menu. But consumption has come down, it's come down by 2/3. Currently we are operating at a 30% capacity. So, in the month of April, first month of lockdown, we were at a 1/8 of our business. In the month of May, we reached to 1/5. In the month of June, we got to 1/3. So, still it's a long, long way to go, right? I mean, just imagine, to come to 1/3, it took us 3 months. From that 1/3 to go to 2/3 is going to maybe take another 2 or 3 months, So it's really tough times. And I think you have to reinvent yourself. So what we did at Wow Momo was that we launched, what we realized is that during the lockdown, we had only 60 outlets operational for delivery. And we were doing real-time food delivery. We were giving people Momos in 45 minutes via Swiggy, via Zomato. Now we realized that, there was a big gap because, when you talk about grocery or essentials, you had Big Basket, you had grocers, but, they had different slots across the day, and it took them 48 hours to deliver the products because they had huge demand. So we saw a new business line there because, for us, with so many employees who are unoccupied and we have to pay them salaries, with only 60 stores operational during the lockdown. It was about how do we sweat the asset better, right? So we launched this new business line called Momo Essentials, whereby we started serving potatoes, onion, tomatoes, eggs, milk, bread, sanitary pads, everything. And Momo Essentials became a new business line for us. So via Swiggy, Zomato, we were actually being able to deliver real-time essentials in 45 minutes, right? So from a food business, we became a online grocery player for this limited time of lockdown. And our business became double than what it was in April. So if we jumped from a 1/8 to a 1/3 in June over a period of 3 months, it was also because we ran a new business line called Momo Essentials. So I think you have to be proactive. You have to be agile. As a young startup, we were very agile. We were very agile now that, I think the future post-COVID or post-lockdown is going to be about collaborations. It's going to be about how you spread the asset better. So we are getting into a tie with Cafe Coffee Day, where you will see Momo outlets inside Cafe Coffee Day. We've already done 3 outlets in Bangalore, and we're opening 2 more this Monday. Once this pilot gets over, we'll be opening 10 in Calcutta, 10 in Bombay, and that's how we go about the expansion. Now imagine Cafe Coffee Day has 1,400 stores across the country. Now, even if we can open, say, 300 stores with them, we are being able to get that growth in a very smart way by collaboration. Now that collaboration is helping us and helping them both. So it's a win-win situation because, we are being able to utilize their asset better, we are being able to share revenue with them. So, they also earn on revenue. It's a revenue share model where we both have a skin in the game. At the same time, we are able to deliver products in their cafes which are not available.
Right.
So it becomes like a win-win situation for both the brands where, 2 brands, India's largest homegrown QSR chain, which is us, and Cafe Coffee Day, India's largest coffee chain. I mean, today for me, it's a role model brand, right?
Right.
2 brands coming together, joining hands, and this is going to set a trend for the future. You will see a lot of mergers, acquisitions, partnerships happening in the space because everyone is going to look at consolidating. Everyone is going to look at being able to utilize the asset better, to get the resources better, and to drive traction and to be able to survive and to be able to remain alive. See, we have to all remain alive today to fight tomorrow, right? And that is need of the hour. So we all are making losses. Now it's about the guy who makes the least amount of losses. It's about how you can make least amount of losses, how you can reduce your cash burn, how you can conserve cash. Cash is the king, and how you can hold forth to remain alive. This entire year is not about growing. This entire year is not about same-store sales growth. This entire year is not about expansion. This entire year is about remaining alive, about breathing, and being able to sustain so that you can grow in years to come. So it's very, very important to be very rational, to be very realistic about the business. And you might have to take some tough calls. I mean, till now we haven't done any job cuts, we've done pay cuts, but you never know. If things will improve for another 3 or 4 months, we might be forced to do some very, very, very difficult restrictive measures. But whatever we do as an entrepreneur, you have to be honest to yourself. As a leader, you have to be very transparent with your team. You have to give them clarity. You have to give them security. When this lockdown happened, I went up to my board and I said, I'm not doing any job cuts. I might do pay cuts from April onwards. For the month of March, we paid entire salary. For the month of April, we paid salary in advance, because people wanted to get money. Many people went to migrants, went home. But we were very clear with our team. We said, नेक्स्ट 4 महीने तक हम कोई जॉब कट पक्का नहीं करेंगे, चाहे हमको जिंदा रहना हो या नहीं रहना हो, हम जॉब कट तो पक्का नहीं करेंगे. तो आप सबकी जॉब सिक्योर है, हम सब कुछ पे कट्स लेंगे, सबको everyone will have to bear the pain for the larger gain, but we were very clear and very upfront with them. We gave them security, we gave them clarity, we were very transparent with them, and that's very important. Your team should be able to trust you and bounce on you, and at the same time you should be able to expect that your team is there for you, to stand for you in these tough times.
Interesting. Sagar, before we move on to the Q&A from audience, I would like to request you to share 3 advice, one for entrepreneurs, one for marketers, and one for MBA students that could help them in their journeys.
So for entrepreneurs, I believe you have to be very agile. You have to use every tough time like a challenge and convert the challenge to an opportunity. That's what we are doing. We've always done. So like right now, whether it's Momo Essentials or collaborating with Cafe Coffee Day, or in the past, when there was demonetization, when the customers were not coming to us, we literally went outside every ATM and we served water to the customers. We served them menus, gave them food. So if customers did not come to us, we went to them. And looking at us, brands like Domino's, KFC started doing that. So although I consider them to be my role model brands, we could set a trend then. This was back in 2016 when demo happened in the month of November. So, I think you have to always be able to take every adverse situation into an opportunity, and you have to learn and know how to find your success or your winning mantra in that opportunity. So at every adverse time also gives you an opportunity to, so for many businesses, I know they cannot do much during now, but what they can do is they can reflect, they can use this time to go back, to re-innovate, to reinvent, and to think how they can bounce back stronger, to maybe, it's very important to introspect. We all were running a rat race, all of us, including me. So, this lockdown gave us that time to be insightful and to look into insights, which is very, very important. So that's my advice to entrepreneurs. Next was for students.
For MBA students.
I think MBA students, you people should feel honored that you're being able to, pursue an MBA. I'm a very, very big fan of education. I think, you are very lucky that you're being able to do an MBA. So, utilize this opportunity in the best possible manner. I personally don't believe that, you have to be a job creator, you have to, own a business. I think to be a job creator, you have to run a business. And MBAs are professionals who can run businesses. Now, whether you do that, being an entrepreneur, owning the business, or being an entrepreneur, working for that business, it's completely your call. According to me, everyone who contributes to the growth of an organization as an entrepreneur, because you are enterprising, you're able to do that, right? If you ask me, I feel even an Uber driver is an entrepreneur, because he's self-sustaining, he's running his business by himself. It's up to him how he satisfies the consumer. It's up to him as to how, he can get maximum 5-star ratings, grow in his business, grow in his organization. And so is a Swiggy delivery rider, and so are you, and so am I. So I personally believe that, you are fortunate to be able to get this professional training of being an MBA. Just don't take the degree, go out there, work hard, use your knowledge, use your wisdom, use your skill set to make a difference to the economy, to create more jobs. Today, for me, people talk about valuations, people talk about top lines, people talk about EBITDA margin, but for me, the biggest, I would say, profits are that today I am being able to employ close to 3,000 people, and I want to take this number to 5,000, and then take this 5,000 number to maybe 50,000 someday. So that's my biggest aspiration. So, as an MBA, I think you have the strength in you, you have the skill set in you to be a job creator. So go out there, do that, and see how you could make that more bigger and make that more successful. And the last one was for students.
So before I move on to the last advice, the reason I specifically mentioned for MBA students, because in the starting of the session, you said that you couldn't do your MBA.
Yeah.
But Sagar, honestly, sharing with you today, your journey is a part of many business schools. People talk about it, people read about it in articles, and I'm sure the case studies would also be there. So that's why I specifically mentioned for MBA students. And my last request is regarding advice for marketers.
I think for marketers, your real test starts now. It's very important. It's very, very easy to build a brand or to market a brand when you have all the resources. But now, after this lockdown, after this COVID, in this new world, how well you can market your product by using less resources, by spending less money, is going to define you. Today, people talk about chief marketing officers, right? Now, a chief marketing officer, if he's spending a lot of money on hoardings, on ads, etc., then do you actually require a chief marketing officer? No, you require a media planner. The duty or the purpose of a chief marketing officer will actually happen when he's able to perform with less funding, with less revenue, with less resources, but still stand out. So for marketers, I think you'd have to also re-innovate yourself. You have to relook at the way you market yourself, because resources there's going to be a paucity of resources. There's going to be a paucity of funds for every business, right? So you cannot expect to spend money and market. You have to find a very smart and a very innovative way, and your own way, your own jugaad of doing things, and doing it in a manner where you stand out, where you innovate, and where you create an impact. So that impact creation is actually your job, your role. If you come and complain that mere paas funds nahi hai market karne ko, then I think you're the biggest failure in that role, because you are a marketer for your skill set that you have. It's up to you how you go there, how you find ways of marketing yourself without these resources, with paucity of funds, and create an impact. So take this up like a challenge, a challenge from me to you, a challenge from the country to you, because the country needs marketers to perform now for the economy to be back on track. Take it up like a challenge. it's very easy to complain that, there's a coronavirus, there's a COVID, and times are tough, times are bad. We all know times are tough, times are bad. We have to learn to live with it. And how can we bounce back stronger, better is going to be the need of the hour. And you guys are marketers because you know how to market things, you know how to sell things. It's your real litmus test now. Go out there and prove it to yourself that you can do it, and prove it to the world and to the economy that you can do it.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing those precious advice, Sagar. Sagar, in the interest of time, I would like to take a couple of questions from audience with your permission. So the first question is, how different is the market in North India from the South India, Central India, and Eastern India? And what are some of the biggest regional challenges that exist or you faced in your expansion?
So I think India is a very diverse country, different states. Every big city in India is like a country in a country. I say Delhi is like a country in a country. Bombay is like a country in a country. So it's huge, it's massive, right? However, no matter how diverse we are united. When you have an India cricket match, you see the entire country cheering for you, right? I think every region is very specific to, obviously it has its habit. Now, I think for businesses, it's very important to set trends. Now, today, if I go to South India and I try serving momos with sambar, I am not creating a brand. I am not creating a trend. I am actually localizing the product. Now, will I be able to get consistency by localizing? No, because I will be able to get consistency only when I have systems and I have volumes to counter those systems, and I have scale, and I can play in that scale to innovate, to create, and to, most importantly, monitor what I'm creating and maintain consistency. So it's very, very important to set trends, no matter which market you have. Today, you are the biggest salesman or you're the biggest marketer if you can sell a refrigerator to an Eskimo. That's what we learn in these schools, right? So I think it's very important to keep things simple, stick to basics. Yes, you might have some products that might sell more in certain regions, like for example, say in a Chennai or a Calcutta or a Bombay, which is in coastal areas, you might have seafood selling more compared to a Bangalore or a Delhi, where seafood might not sell more. And you might have tandoori products selling more because it's North India, and maybe in South India, you might have the steam momos selling more because they're used to having steam idlis, right? But keep your product line, your assortment the same across the country. It's up to you how you build that traction, whether you need to do sampling, whether you need to Indianize the product, whether you need to Indianize the service. It's up to you how you create that trend, but setting trends is your main goal. You can be the most successful entrepreneur or the most successful organization only when you can set trends. Otherwise, if you're doing what everyone else is doing, then you're a Me Too brand, right? So you're not being a disruptor. So it's very important to think like a disruptor, to treat every region. Why only India? I mean, today I feel I can sell this momos in Sri Lanka, in Bangladesh, in Dubai, in GCC, in USA, UK, everywhere. So I feel Momo can become a global brand. I think it's going to be, hopefully, keeping fingers crossed, we're going to be India's international brand. I mean, today a brand like Domino's, KFC can come from abroad to India. Why can't we create an India international brand, right? Today, Domino's came to India, right? People didn't know about pizzas. They set a trend of selling pizzas. They did initially for the first 5 years, they struggled. They did various campaigns, the 30-minute pizza campaign, the pan pizza at 49 rupees. And today, Domino's, jubilant. I mean, their stock is one of the most highly priced stock in the consumer space, right? So, hats off to what they've done, the way they've built the entire Domino's network of selling pizzas in the country. So I think it's up to you as an entrepreneur how you create that trend, but markets are same. It's up to you. It's like a stage, the stage is set. It's up to you how you go and perform.
Right. Sagar, one question is around creating around business model. What things an entrepreneur should keep in mind while creating a sustainable and profitable business model?
I think I lost you. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, I think there was some network problem. The next question is around business model. You have been running a profitable business in restaurant industry, which is phenomenal. So one audience wants to know how to create a good business model, which is profitable and sustainable. What are things to be kept in mind?
I think it's very important to create a business model where unit economics are very clear cut, where you know what profits you are making and how you're going about the same. It's very, very important to know that your product is selling, and it's very important to get volumes, to get masses, to build a niche product for the masses. Like I said, you can only create systems when you have volumes, right? So for any business to be self-sustaining, I think your unit economics have to be right up there. If you're selling 100 rupees, you should be able to at least make 5 rupees to begin with and 10 rupees to begin with, and then, add it up. But if you are in a consumer business sector, which is not really a tech business, and you are selling for 100 rupees and you're costing 110 rupees, I think you are actually committing suicide to an extent, right? So you need to rework your model. I'm not saying your model is wrong. I'm saying that you might be doing an amazing job, might be having amazing products, but some way or the other you're going wrong and you need to get the maths right. So I think it's very important to be green in business, to make profits in a consumer business in India. It might take time. Today, Rome was not built in one day. Taj Mahal was not built in one day. So it will take time. Be patient, be persevering, but very, very important to keep unit economics in mind. It's very good to have aspiration levels. It's very good to have a very, to have large dreams, but, break up your dreams in small parts, break up your aspirations in small parts, and do the right thing at the right time. Your first journey as an entrepreneur is to make your business self-sustaining and profitable, right? Then you can raise funding and grow with that funding. And while raising funding and while growing, again, maintain profitability, right? So that you don't have to depend on the investor to be self-sufficient, right? Today, yes, now times will be very bad post-COVID because there is a lot of burn happening, etc. But pre-COVID, I think if you were a self-sustaining business, during this COVID era, you will be able to know and have the art of how to conserve cash, how to reduce your burn, and at least remain alive. So it's very, very important to stick to basics. I'm a very, very big believer of basics of process. So very important to stick to basics, very important to stick to processes, do the right things, repeat things, be very observant of what's happening around you. It's very, very, very important to listen to a lot of people, but do what your heart says, but be a very good listener. Don't just say that wo bolne ke liye bol raha hai, because you never know from where you might hear something. I mean, today, some of my best ideas have come from maybe the housekeeping guy working in my store, right? So no one is big or small. No one's idea is big or small. I think it's very important to be a very good listener. It's very important to introspect. It's very important to take feedback. And ultimately, consumer is the king. Consumer is sovereign. So it's very important to serve the consumer in the best possible manner. And you should just be able to go out there, do it to the best possible of your ability.
Interesting. I have a last question, which is related to the COVID era, and you gave a good insight on how your business is evolving. One person wants to know what is going to be the future of QSR industry post-COVID era or around this time, and how to motivate employees to respect hygiene, because that is going to become one of the most important factor in today's era.
I think QSR is going to be one of the fastest to bounce back, if you ask me very honestly, because I think delivery has already picked up traction. And the new now is the pre-order takeaway. People are pre-ordering. Earlier, you would see pre-order delivery, but now people are pre-ordering, coming to your store and doing a takeaway. They either eating in your car. They don't want to enter the restaurant, but they don't mind eating in a small group in their own cars, right, in their own vehicles. So the pre-order takeaway has really picked up. I think delivery is really thriving. Delivery is the new normal, and it's going to be here for some time to stay. I think it's going to be very important for all of us to know how do we reduce our delivery cost, because earlier delivery, at least for us, was only 27% of our revenue. It was largely dine-in and impulse buy and takeaway. Now this 27% has become a 60-70%, and you have a commission sharing with the Swiggy, Zomato. So we all have to find our own ways of reducing the delivery cost. I think I'm a part of the NRAI, and I'm heading this this entire project of the NRAI, where we are building our own platform. So we've tied up with this B2B app called .pay, where every consumer gets a unique QR code, and with that unique QR code, every consumer gets a WhatsApp number. You can go to the WhatsApp page of Momo, type a hi, and your order will be taken via WhatsApp, and the food will be delivered to you through a third-party aggregator like a Delivery, Dunzo, or Shadowfax. Now these aggregators, the logistical partner, they literally charge you around 35 to 40 rupees for a 3 to 4 kilometers, right? Vis-a-vis, we end up paying almost 20% commission to a Swiggy, Zomato, which leads to 70, 80 rupees in most cases. So this is how you have to learn to reduce your delivery cost. You have to own your own consumers. With food aggregators, you don't even know your customer. You don't even know their contact details. Here, the customer is your customer. You know his preferences. You know his contact details. So I think we all will have to become Atmanirbhar, self-reliant, like our Honorable Prime Minister said. And we all will have to find our own way of reducing cost. Mastering the delivery aspect for the few months to come. And I personally believe that, I'm an optimistic person. I think, we will learn to live with the virus. We will again start going out. It's a matter of time. I think we will all be cautious for next 3 or 4 months. But I think this 3 or 4 months of pain will be a lot of gain in the future, because you'll see traction in delivery. you'll see traction in dining coming back, takeaway coming back. So it's going to actually lead to, higher efficiencies and productivity and sales in the long run. And you will also see, like I said, unfortunately, many restaurants will shut down. So many cloud kitchens will shut down. So even supply will come down. And when supply will come down, the people who remain alive, who sustain, are going to get more demand.
Right.
So that's how it's going to be.
सागर, आपका जो वो कोट है ना, फाइटर हमेशा जीतता है, वो बहुत मोटिवेशनल है. आज की डेट में सबको मोटिवेशन की जरूरत है. बिफोर वी एंड, मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा आप वो कोट एक बार शेयर कर दीजिए.
No, definitely, I mean, these are tough times, Corona times. So, I keep saying, अगर जिंदगी में कुछ करना है, आगे बढ़ना है, मुश्किलें आएंगी, उसका सामना करना है, but लड़ना है, आगे बढ़ना है. But yeah, these are lines of Javed Akhtar, which I had read in one of his poems, and I really love saying it. कि मंजिलें हैं तो मुश्किलें हैं तो हौसला है तो विश्वास है, क्योंकि फाइटर हमेशा जीतता है. So go out there, fight, and if you fight, you give it your best effort, you will win.
Thank you, Sagar. You have really been an inspiration. Your journey is an inspiration. So thank you, Sagar. It was really an insightful discussion with you. Thank you again for taking out time. I would like to say thank you to all our audience for joining us today. And a big thank you to Speaking team for organizing this session. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Good
Thanks,
evening.
everyone.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.